Welcome. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of the North Hills. Whatever the faith and traditions of your past, we welcome you. Whatever your theological stance, we welcome you. Whoever you are and whomever you love, we welcome you. Wherever you come from, whatever your journey has been, we welcome you. Whether you be rooting today for the Eagles or for the Chiefs, we welcome you. The whole of you. My name is Bruce Travers. I'll be the lay leader today. Our Sunday services are as diverse as we are. So if you are visiting our church for the first time, please come back again several times before drawing any conclusions about us. Newcomers and guests are always welcome to participate in any of our church activities. If we have any newcomers or guests this morning with us, we invite you to introduce yourselves. Please raise your hand and someone will bring a microphone around. You can say hello, even if you like the Chiefs. I was just kidding about that. Okay. Well, please join us all for coffee hour following the service, and please stop by the Connections Corner over there for more information about UUCNH. We now take a moment to acknowledge that the land we stand on was taken from the local indigenous people. Inspired by their culture, we strive to become better stewards of the earth. It is good to be together, both in person and virtually.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Doug Cooper.
Good morning.
Our service today is about connections. We come from different paths with different truths, but surely what binds us together and to the world around us is what brings us together again and again and yet again.
The flaming chalice is a symbol of our faith as we join with other UU churches and fellowships in this ritual. As we share the light of this chalice in our sanctuary, we also welcome those of you viewing at home to remotely light a chalice. Our chalice lighting today is called Thirsty by Gregory Pelly. And so we gather from the ebb and flow of our lives, thirsty for connection to ourselves, thirsty for connection to others, thirsty for connection to a larger life. As we light this chalice, may all who gather here be filled with joy and hope, filled with compassion and love. Here may we be filled so that we may pour ourselves out into the world. Now please rise in body or spirit as you're willing and able, and join in singing our opening hymn, All Creatures of the Earth and Sky, number 203 in your gray hymnal, and the words will also appear on the screen. Well, I didn't say all the words would appear on the screen. We've got to have a little bonus for the people who actually show up. So, okay, so now it is time for our joys and sorrows. So members of the lay pastoral care team will come forth.
Good morning. I'm Ruth Horwitz from the Lay Pastoral Care Team. During our service, we create this sacred space for sharing within our community. It is a time to share significant life passages with the congregation so that you can be held in loving care. I'll be reading the joys and sorrows this morning, and Inga Burton-Smith will be placing a stone representing each joy or sorrow in the sand. The sand represents our congregation supporting our sorrows and lifting up our joys. Today we have one sorrow from Jess Karnprost. We will be taking our 15-year-old family dog, Dasha, to cross the Rainbow Bridge on Monday. To Jess and family, we say, we're holding you in our hearts. We now place one more stone in the sand for all the joys and sorrows that exist in our hearts but remain unspoken today. From far and near, please say with me our caring words. Let us hold in our circle of caring each person here. Let us hold in our hearts those who aren't able to be with us today. Let us hold in our memories those who have moved on. Let us find comfort knowing that we are not alone.
So let us now take a moment to quiet ourselves and enter a remembered place where we felt connected to others and to that place. Our reading today is from the opening of Rachel Carson's The Silent Spring. There was once a town in the heart of America where all life seemed to live in harmony with its surroundings. The town lay in the midst of a checkerboard of prosperous farms, with fields of grain and hillsides of orchards where, in spring, white clouds of bloom drifted above the green fields. In autumn, oak and maple and birch set a blaze of color that flamed and flickered across a backdrop of pines. So it had been from the days many years ago when the first settlers raised their houses and sank their wells and built their barns.
Good morning. 3 years ago, hard to believe, Becky Leupold and I introduced Rachel Carson EcoVillage to this congregation. We were very early in our development process at that time, and we've encountered a number of hurdles, and at this time I'm saying happily that we have overcome all those hurdles to be here today. And many of them turned out to be blessings in disguise, as so often happens. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about the ways we've worked to make our community, which is just in the beginnings of its construction, to be a part of our natural surroundings as inspired by Rachel Carson and her legacy. In order to do this, you'll see that our planning process for the EcoVillage has been quite different than you would normally encounter in such a residential development all around us today. So it's been a process of putting our values to the test, and that's the excitement of being part of this community, to walk the walk, as we say. So, there we are. Oh, it's wonderful when it works. Nature teaches us that everything is interconnected. Creating Rachel Carson EcoVillage, we are seeking to understand and strengthen our connections with each other and with nature. Inspired by the life and work of Western Pennsylvania's own Rachel Carson, our intentional neighborhood is striving to realize her vision for a community where all life seemed to be in harmony with its surroundings. The EcoVillage is a new multi-generational community that is founded on ecological and sociocratic principles. Our namesake, as we all know, the founder of the modern environmental movement, was born and raised in Western Pennsylvania and attended the Pennsylvania College for Women in Pittsburgh, where she studied both English and biology. Her legacy is an inspiration to all of us. It was her writing in the 1960s that ignited the U.S. environmental movement and changed our modern way of thinking about nature. So what is an eco-village? It's an intentional community where people aim to live in harmony with the earth, that's the eco, and with each other, that's the village. It's an idea that's got a thousands of year history, though by many different names. We're most familiar with the idea of a neighborhood, where there is both private space and shared space, a good balance of privacy and community. Our eco-village is based on the model of co-housing, where everyone has their own house, but we also have a common house where we gather for meals, meetings, movies, singing, and other activities. RCE began in 2020, survived the pandemic and the loss of our first site, and is now under construction. We have our plans, our permits, and our construction contracts. Most of our units are already committed, but we still have a few available. The EcoVillage is located on the Providence Heights campus, originally entirely owned by the Sisters of Divine Providence, now occupied in part by La Roche University. The sisters have provided the land for the community, and the beautiful campus on which they live today, They have been there since 1920. Like us, they are an intentional community with a strong commitment to sustainability, the quality of the environment, and to social justice. La Roche University, as you may know, is a Catholic liberal arts college that offers over 50 programs and has a highly diverse student body. Looking east from the sisters' residence across a meadow that used to be farmland, you see the wooded area that is our site. The sisters did farm this entire area, several square miles, where they were able to sustain their entire community. The crops, orchards, and farm animals provided all the sisters' food. Our site itself is a beautiful, mature oak hickory woodland, a fragment of Western Pennsylvania's native landscape. It reminds us of walking through Frick Park and perhaps many other parks in our area. A small stream runs across the site from east to west. In a good rain, it gets to be about 12 inches deep. So how did we go about planning for this community in a way that would also contribute to the long-term sustainability of this beautiful woodland? One of the first things we did was to work together to create a vision statement. As you can see, we believe that to live a good life in a good world, we start by recognizing that we are all interconnected, that our aim is to create or strengthen those connections that have been weakened by social isolation, environmental fragmentation, and political and economic divisions. We also recognize, as you can see from this little matrix here of a successional garden, that living in harmony with the world means that we change our idea of design. Instead of preparing a landscape or garden plan, which no matter how native or organic or environmentally conscious it is, it imposes a fixed ideal on the land. And to maintain such a fixed ideal, we actually have to struggle against nature. Weeds, bugs, we all know that. But it takes a lot of work to fix a landscape and maintain it. So we are looking at the land differently. It means we have a more open responsiveness to life around us, an ongoing engagement, continuous balancing and mending and adjusting as the landscape evolves, accepting that we are not in control, we evolve with it. This is why we've invested a lot of time in getting to know the site, becoming familiar with the life that is already there, and learning to see the pattern of connections and how they change. And this, of course, is just the beginning of our hopefully long-lasting relationship. Now, every investigation of the site has given us new information that shifted our site plan. While all this was going on, I was the one who was redrawing our site plan about 30 times to respond to all of our emerging knowledge. Well, it's been a year since we first encountered our site, and we have very much enjoyed exploring and learning about it. Our ecology team, the Fourth Rivers Workers Guild, led us on walks to discover more about the life of the forest floor, the signs of animal life, the way that trees adapt to their surroundings, and clues to the changes that are going on. We learned that time plays an important role in how we respond to our environment. Today, there's a lot of interest in sustainable design, and that gives us a good start. But sustainability is about long-term management, understanding those relationships and changing with them. All around us, all the time, the processes of natural selection and evolution are changing the environment. And of course, we humans do play an important part of in those processes. But our goal is to become a positive part of those processes. In our initial visits to the site with our ecology team, we were looking for clues not only about how the site itself is changing, but how it has, what its history was. We saw a great diversity of ages of the trees, with a good number of saplings and young trees, especially in the middle of the site near the stream. At the edges, and where the tree canopy had been disturbed, we found evidence of more natural succession, but it led to stiltgrass, Japanese cherry, barberry, and other invasive plants that had colonized the sunny spots. There have been a number of other disturbances, of which the biggest impact was from the construction of Cumberland Road. So our landscape planting focuses on areas of disturbance, particularly recognizing our own disturbance. It's also the beginning of the way we will manage these invasive plants. Removing the hardy invasives will be paired with planting selective native plants that can reduce the opportunity for future invasives. Tree planting is an ongoing part of our maintenance. There's a good-sized population of deer in the woods, as will not surprise anyone here. There's also a very healthy population of groundhogs in the meadow. So that's a factor in selecting and protecting what we plant. Our region will see a significant increase in precipitation over the next 25 years, and that too will change the woodland habitat for both plants and animals. So our plan was not imposed on the site, but evolved out of it, out of what we learned about the nature of our surroundings. We began by asking what would happen here over the next 50 years if no humans were intervening. In the past 100 years, we saw more changes than in the previous thousands of years. The woodland was whittled away first by farming and then by development. It exists today only in small patches, and what was once deep woodland has become woodland edges, exactly the habitat for deer. We will plant a mix of trees that belong in the woodland ecosystem, but are also suited to a warmer and wetter climate, such as black walnut, tulip, and sassafras. The most important element of our 30-year land management plan is observation. This fall, our Eco-Resources group conducted its first BioBlitz, an intensive group observation using our iNaturalist project site. In addition to individual observations logged into iNaturalist, we are planning to hold at least 2 BioBlitz events each year to notice how the area is changing and how we might adjust in response. We also saw how the site and its surroundings have changed by comparing aerial photographs from 1939 and 1955. We see the cropland that was across the stream to the west of the site, which today is a meadow. The western part of our site, which you can see in red here, was apparently a pasture for many years, now thick with trees and shrubs. A farm road, now unpaved, that was unpaved, ran between the pasture and the woods, and we believe that trees were planted along the road, as there is now a large row of trees buried in this woodland. That road between pasture and woodland marks the boundary of 2 distinct landscapes, but it's only obvious after seeing that history. East of the pasture land, east of the yellow line on your screen, we see the mature woodland where the tree canopy has kept the ground clear of shrubby understory plants. To the west, in the former pasture, is a landscape that's much earlier in the succession process. We see younger trees and thicker shrubs. They've been seeded from the suburban lawns and other human-made landscapes that have grown up around the site in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s. So we had a lot of conventional site surveys and tests, and we learned that in addition to one wetland on the site, we inherited a wetland that had been inadvertently created by the construction of Cumberland Road. This created a big challenge for us because the township had granted only one location for access to the property, right off Cumberland Road and directly into the wetland. So we figured out a way around it, and we did all our geotechnical tests, which gave us a fuller picture of the site, but most helpful was the survey of the tree assessment, which happened over a period of 3 months, and our team, Fourth River, consulted with the county forester and master arborist and surveyed each tree in detail. They determined the size, species, location, and condition of every one of the 522 trees on the site. Since we knew that construction would disturb the site, and particularly the network of tree roots, it was important to know which trees would be needed to be removed for other reasons, caused by other disturbances. So we had our tree survey in detail. We had a larger picture of the overall ecosystem, and we began to then understand what was actually happening here. We saw that the healthy woodland is in the center, surrounded by disturbed areas, as is not surprising, as this land has been developed for many purposes. So recognizing that we want to preserve and sustain the woodland, the area where we can make the best contribution is in these peripheral places. So these would be the location of our own disturbance, 2 clusters of houses where the trees that were removed were either largely damaged, disturbed, or invasive. And we would maintain through construction and also through our continuing management the multi-generational woods in the center of the community. So our site plan located the houses in these 2 areas and limited vehicular access to the parking area that you see in the northeast, right off of Cumberland Road, since we don't bring the cars through the woods, and a driveway that provides also all of the emergency vehicle access to all of the units, which comes through, again, from Cumberland Road on the sister's property through to our community. Now, these units are in small buildings that are designed to fit our site and to belong to the tradition of the Appalachian cabins, a familiar house form in this part of the country. Like traditional cabins, the houses are simple 2-story buildings with large windows and sheltered porches. Each house has its own porch and yard or deck. They are semi-detached, so they save energy and land. They are simple and modest houses that have a much smaller carbon footprint than the houses we live in now. One of the ways we are limiting our disturbance on the site is having these buildings prefabricated off-site. Each house has 1 or 2 bedrooms that can be expanded up to 4 bedrooms with bathrooms on both floors. The house, most importantly, is highly insulated and conditioned on both floors. So while we're borrowing from the past for the form of our house, we're very much building it to standards that are well beyond our current standards today. Here you see the distribution of the different unit types, ranging from 1 bedroom on the ground floor, which can have 2 bedrooms, to the 2 bedrooms that can have 4 bedrooms. But to get a little technical, the way that we're reducing waste on our property and reducing our carbon footprint is by super insulating these buildings. They are now insulated to twice the energy code standard, and they are heated and cooled with a heat pump that filters air for good indoor air quality and also makes sure that we don't leak any air, energy to the outside. Our design was done with energy modeling all the way along, so using modern technology. But what is really interesting is the technology that put this together in panels. It's been completed already. All of these buildings exist now in highly insulated panels that are built in a Blueprint Robotics factory in Baltimore, where they can control the climate and make sure that the precision that is needed for maintaining the high quality of energy conservation can be obtained in a way that cannot happen with any site-constructed construction. So there are many ways in which we are trying to live in a smaller footprint and also share this way of building with others. Just as important as the buildings is our governance, the way that we live together with each other. Living harmoniously with our surroundings is an aspiration that will continue to guide our work over the coming years. Living harmoniously with our neighbors and working cooperatively is an often overlooked part of biophilia. It is the essential foundation for everything we do. Building community is, in fact, the best sustainability strategy. So we're building community with sociocracy, which is also called deep democracy. Decisions are made in small groups for the benefit of the entire community. Everyone listens deeply to each other. We value everyone's voice and everyone's time. By learning to listen well, we found we make better decisions. By practicing consent, we get better buy-in for those decisions. And by sharing responsibility, we expand and strengthen our community's leadership. It turns inclusiveness from a matter of numbers to a way of living. So there are many ways in which we all connect with each other every day. In our community, we are excited that we have already become good friends with each other well before our buildings are built, well before we get to move in later this year. We are creating a culture of respect and caring and learning to live with and to listen to each other. We know how to make decisions well, and we have confidence that nothing is going to confront us that we can't overcome as a community. We invite many people to take leadership roles, and we are committed to face-to-face resolution of any conflicts. So we're creating a safe space and a beautiful space. We're learning about the ecology of the world around us. We're learning how to conserve and enhance that world. And we hope to find ways that we can share with others that will help us all to find a way to live more harmoniously with our surroundings and with each other. Thank you.
Please join with me now in reading our mission statement and affirming our mission statement. And it should appear on your screen momentarily. There we go. By building a loving religious community that nourishes the spirit, celebrates life, and cherishes the connectedness of all things, we will transform ourselves and our world. Generosity is a spiritual practice, one that enlarges the heart and lightens the spirit. For no matter how much or how little we have, in the sharing of it, both the one who gives and the one who receives are blessed. As an independent Unitarian Universalist congregation, we depend on your financial support to pay our staff, to maintain our beautiful campus, and to offer meaningful worship services like this one and religious exploration programs. We appreciate your generosity, and we will be good stewards of your contributions. Instructions for online contributions will be on the screen. And if you're visiting us for the first time, please feel free to let the basket pass. Your presence with us today is your gift to us. The morning offering will now be given and gratefully received. Please join me in dedicating the offering. You'll see the words on the screen. May these gifts and the work of our hands and hearts give power to all we stand for as a community of faith. Please rise in body or in spirit as you are willing and able, and join in singing our closing hymn, Wake Now My Senses, number 298 in the gray hymnal. The words will also appear on the screens.
These are words from the poet Kimberly Ann Tomsack Carlson. Recognizing the beauty around us and within us, we now extinguish our chalice. May we savor the beauty of our abundance and diversity, always cherishing one another and our earth. May we remember to inhale the lushness in life, knowing that we are people of beauty.
A request from your office administrator. Who I know personally. As some of you may have noticed, the calendar on the website has been crashing. Robin has been working with our website support to fix the issue. The fix was ultimately to completely rebuild the calendar. So Robin is requesting that anyone who has an event or meeting in the future, please double check the calendar that all the dates and times are on the calendar and listed correctly. Please email office@uucnh.org if you see any issues that need to be addressed. Thank you in advance. Okay.
Our closing words today are from an excerpt by Wendell Berry in the Mad Farmer Liberation Front. Yeah, it's so good. So friends, every day do something that won't compute. Love the world. Work for nothing. Take all that you have and be poor. Love someone who does not deserve it.